There's a quiet truth most people don't want to hear. The harder you try to force something, the further it seems to slip from your grasp. You chase it. You think about it constantly. You replay scenarios in your head, trying to find the perfect move, the perfect timing, the perfect words, and still, nothing. Or worse, things start to fall apart, and that's where frustration begins to take hold. Because in a world that glorifies speed, move fast, act now, don't waste time, you're falling behind. Patience feels like weakness, like hesitation, like failure in disguise. But what if patience isn't weakness at all? What if patience is one of the most powerful forces you can develop? Precisely because it goes against everything the world tells you to do. Think about this. A seed doesn't become a tree overnight. It doesn't rush. It doesn't panic. It doesn't compare itself to the forest around it. It simply grows. When it's ready, you can water it, give it sunlight, nourish the soil. But no matter how badly you want it to grow faster, you cannot force it. And if you try, if you dig it up every day to check its progress, if you overwater it, if you interfere with its natural process, you don't speed it up, you destroy it. And yet, this is exactly what we do with our lives. We set a goal, and then we suffocate it with urgency. We keep digging it up, checking results every day, questioning if it's working, doubting the process, changing direction too quickly, and then we wonder why nothing takes root. Patience is not about doing nothing. It's not about sitting back and hoping things magically work out. Patience is disciplined action, over time, without panic. It's doing the right things consistently, while allowing time to do what only time can do. Because there are forces in life you cannot rush. Growth is one of them. Clarity is another. Timing is everything. When you try to force an outcome, it usually comes from fear. Fear that it won't happen. Fear that you're running out of time. Fear that someone else is getting ahead of you. So you push harder. You overthink every decision. You overanalyze every detail. You try to control every variable. You become obsessed with the outcome instead of committed to the process. And that's where things start to break. Because obsession creates pressure, and pressure distorts judgment. You start making decisions you wouldn't normally make. You say yes when you should say no. You chase things that don't truly align with you. You settle for less, just to feel like you're making progress. But forced progress isn't real progress. It's movement without direction. And eventually, it catches up to you. Have you ever noticed something strange? The moment you stop chasing something so aggressively, it begins to move closer to you. The moment you release that tight grip, things start to flow again. Opportunities appear. People reach out. Ideas become clearer. It feels almost paradoxical, like the less you force, the more things fall into place. And that's not coincidence. That's alignment. Because not everything in life responds to force. Some things respond to readiness. Some things respond to timing. And some things respond to who you are becoming. You cannot force clarity. Clarity comes when your mind is quiet enough to see things as they are. You cannot force the right opportunity. It appears when preparation meets the right moment. You cannot force meaningful growth. It happens gradually, often in ways you don't even notice at first. Trying to rush these things is like trying to rush the sunrise. No matter how impatient you become, no matter how much you stare at the horizon, The sun will rise when it's meant to rise, not a second earlier. And here's the part most people overlook. Just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not happening. Some progress is invisible. Some growth is internal. Some preparation is happening beneath the surface, where you can't measure it, where you can't track it, where you can't validate it with immediate results. And that's where patience becomes essential. Because without patience, you'll quit too early. You'll walk away from something that was about to work. You'll abandon a path that was quietly building momentum. You'll mistake silence for failure, when in reality, silence is often where the most important changes are happening. Patience requires trust, and trust is difficult when you don't have proof. It asks you to keep going, even when there's no immediate reward, to stay consistent, even when results are delayed, to believe, even when doubt is louder. It's uncomfortable, but it's also what separates those who succeed from those who constantly start over, because forcing outcomes leads to cycles. You push hard, you burn out, you lose motivation, you start again, over and over. But patience builds momentum, slow at first, almost unnoticeable, then steady, then unstoppable. Here's something that might change how you see everything. Timing matters more than effort. You can put in massive effort, but if the timing is wrong, the results will feel forced, incomplete, or short-lived. But when timing and preparation align, things accelerate. What once felt difficult becomes natural. What once felt confusing becomes clear. What once felt out of reach suddenly becomes attainable. So what does real patience actually look like? It looks like consistency without desperation. Showing up every day, not because you're anxious, but because you're committed. It looks like restraint, not reacting impulsively, not jumping at every opportunity, but waiting for what truly aligns. It looks like emotional control, not letting frustration dictate your actions. And it looks like trust, trusting that your efforts are not wasted, even when results are not immediate. And maybe the hardest part of all, it looks like letting go, not of your goals, but of your need to control exactly how they unfold. Because that need, that constant urge to force outcomes, creates resistance. It closes you off to better possibilities. It blinds you to different paths. Sometimes the outcome you're forcing isn't even the one meant for you, but you're so focused on making it happen that you can't see anything else. Patience creates space, space for better opportunities, space for clearer thinking, space for things to unfold in ways you couldn't have predicted. You don't need to force what is already meant to grow. You don't need to chase what is already finding its way to you. And you don't need to panic just because the timeline isn't what you expected. There is a rhythm to life, a pace that cannot be rushed, a sequence that cannot be skipped. And when you fight that rhythm, everything feels harder. But when you learn to move with it, things begin to flow. So keep going, keep showing up, keep putting in the work, keep improving, little by little. But release the urgency, release the pressure, release the need to see everything happen right now. Because one day, what felt slow will feel necessary. What felt like waiting will feel like preparation. And what you once tried so hard to force will arrive effortlessly, not because you chased it relentlessly, but because you became ready for it. because you gave it space to grow, because you trusted the process, even when it was quiet. And when that moment comes, you'll realize something powerful. Patience didn't delay your progress. It protected it. It refined it. It made it sustainable. So don't rush. Don't force. Don't panic. Let things unfold. Let yourself grow. Let time do its part. Because real power isn't in controlling every outcome. It's in knowing when to act and when to allow. And when you truly understand that balance, you stop chasing everything and start attracting what actually matters. That is the power of patience. If this message resonated with you, join the community. Leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this. Your journey of growth is just beginning. And remember, the person you are becoming is built off of what you do today.